Hey, we're here this afternoon with our lovely Claudio. Hello, Claudio.
Hey Karen, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, thanks. Anyway, I was just gonna obviously talking about what we're going to talk about, and I worded it a certain way, but how did you want to word it?
How to tell people to be positive and brave and use only positive words and how to get through what we're going through in this experience during this change transformation.
I think everybody's feeling it, aren't they? You won't get away
100%.
from it. One way or
Nope.
another, you'll know everybody's
Everybody.
got a problem. Yeah.
Everybody is looking to get better.
You don't know how
Everybody's
to
looking
yet.
for
Yeah.
everybody's looking for answers. Everybody's looking for why is these feelings coming over me? And then of course the whole grand why is the whole world there? Yeah,
Is
that's
this
what we can
is
talk
this
about.
happening in a certain way so that we can get new world order? Is it all linked together, or is it totally separate, the new world order, to what's happening to us right now?
Well, New World Order is man's, this is their last attempt to take credit for what happens in the sky because it's as above, so below. So try to mimic what's happening in the stars so you don't look there. And this way you idolize them, and there is your false idol.
Any
That's the
lower,
box.
and I'll be going, Claudio, I can touch the stars. Some of
Yeah,
those
it feels
stars are
that way.
pretty
Which is
low.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, I almost feel like at least flights felt like that. Can always touch the things. You can
Yeah,
tell that the moon is closer than some of the stars. You're like, how can other people not realize this? But I suppose you're 15 floors up and everybody else is on the ground with buildings in the way. When you're 15 floors up, there are no buildings in the way.
yeah. I get it. I mean, people are seeing like numbers. They're starting to wonder why they're waking up at certain
Oh,
times.
all over the footage, there's numbers everywhere. And then someone else came to me. They're called Major Ula channel, and to him, he was seeing other things, but he saw the same things, sort of things in the glass as me. And also, when you put your camera out at night time, you can see this haze. It's like a film. This haze of this stuff coming at you, and I thought, what's that? I mentioned it on my channel. People said that they'd seen it. It's like
Hmm.
a I don't know what you call it. It could be electromagnetics. It could be what they're firing at us. But you can see it. Other people have seen it on their cameras. It's like a
Yeah,
big
see, I,
haze.
I, I don't let my brain go there anymore. I've been down the rabbit hole, been down there for 6 years, come back out, only to know that it's all smoke and mirrors. So I choose not to. Let me rephrase it this way: I choose to go where spirit is guiding me to go. Okay, and this is, like I said, this is man's last hurrah at trying to uh, hang on to materialism. So most people clickbait will put all kinds of stuff up there and put things in our mind like it's the government doing this. They're trying to do this to us. They're trying to do that to us. You got to get out of that. You got to snap out of
I
that
do
because
realise that
we,
someone else said to me they thought that they looked into the astrology and it was going to help them do things, but materialistically. And I said, it's not about a material. If you're going to look at it, it's a spiritual one, not a material one.
that's why Kathy just showed bring to my notice because we get so much guidance. Okay, so this is timely. There's two. Yeah, I know. I saw. There's two lizards now just showed up on a tree while we're talking. There's your signs. So they did that intentionally. And when you look up lizard, I recommend Spirit. I don't know who does this site, but spirit-animals.com because there's a box at the top and it's random, and Spirit is able to control randomness. So the message will come up to you in that box and it'll be so timely. It's crazy. So there's the
Did
things you
you
need to
see
take
the
very.
last video? Did you see the last video on Sun and Moon? This man, he uses a mirror, and whenever he puts the mirror on there, so I suppose creating a kind of kaleidoscope, that's Major Ula. It makes figures, faces, animals, the whole thing. It's like
Sure,
they're living
sure,
here. They're like, do you know what it's
but
like? It's like they're
no,
here.
I get it. So
It's
they
like
are
they're
here.
here,
So
right?
that's
And
what I'm trying to tell you. I'm
they're
trying to.
predator. They're not predators, but they're like living in like predator, where they're in the matrix, but we can't quite see them. But they're there.
They're 100% there, and they're showing. That's my point I'm trying to make. These two lizards weren't there. They just showed up now. And what the meaning of a lizard is objective detachment. Now you got to think about that one because they come at the most opportune time. The timing is impeccable. And it's going to, just like the numbers, why am I keep looking over there at those numbers? They're asking you to start looking for the signs that they've been given us signs their whole life. We just choose or have been programmed, or what do you want to call it? It's
See,
lessons of going.
I put that in as that maybe it was the AI in the computer that was doing it. But what it
No,
is,
no, no.
it's
You
the
got to get it.
matrix.
That's the
In the
materialistic
matrix, it's
things
happening.
we
Whatever you
have
want to
to.
call it.
Yeah, it's called spirit. We're on a beautiful tether with spirit. We're going through the dark ages. Hence why our pineal gland wasn't being able to pick up these signs as much. Now you can. That's the big difference. And with Mama going into Aries right now, that's lighting us up. But it's a 3.5 year journey. Please go watch my university unique verse. It's one verse, one song. We got to get back to one love. It's the first digit that comes out of the Fibonacci, 011. The first one is us together. The second one is our, there's no such thing as an ego, but everybody understands ego. The second one is the ego. Well, we're supposed to let go of the ego now. We're trying to get back to that one love, trying to head back to the Garden of Eden. So those lizards are sitting there right now, staring right now, saying objective detachment. So the objective detachment, a lizard, he's okay with letting go of his tail, because at that moment, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't really matter to me. I'll let it go, it'll grow back. So that's the same thing we have to do. Detach from the things that are materialistic and do not serve you at all.
If it's any consolation, today in my feed was coming up about moths. And this moth, it had to take its skin off about 5 times before it turned into the moth. They don't care that they've got to do that. They've got to go through this process. That's what we've got to do, that kind of thing, isn't it?
And that's what we've got to do, right. But we're worried about our car, all sorts of things. My other house, and 10 houses, and 100 houses, and my money, and my gold, and my jewelry, and my things, and I want to hang on to those. I do understand that we do hang on to things so we can give them to somebody else as a breadcrumb for the future. There's certain reasons why we do things.
And that depends how those people handle the gift when they get it, because most people waste it.
If they're not doing anything with it, that means that they were just a person carrying the baton for the final runner. So there's a reason for everything, but it's called objective detachment. Okay, that came into my life, whether I know there's a reason or not, I accept it, and I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to dwell on that. See, man is really good at making you dwell. He puts images into your head. So right now, that's the battle. We have all these images, all these vibrations. And when you have a whole bunch of people vibrating like that, like through the dark ages, everybody thinks government being ruled. Let me finish, Karen. Let me finish. So everybody's thinking government to be ruled. So that creates a vibration throughout the whole planet. And if you see these beautiful videos Kathy just shared with me, of the images of a lady who's taking pictures of different songs, and the images come up in the water because the water's got memory. So that's what everybody is feeling. They're feeling the effects of everyone because we're one. So we're feeling what everybody's feeling. So, but there's a huge movement in people who are feeling good and knowing that spirit is coming. Spirit is here, not coming. Spirit's always been here, but there's an increase in spirit as we're going into the age of Aquarius. It's undeniable. So
do you know I think I don't quite get it all, but I think I was watching a video yesterday about autism and Asperger's, and it's really crazy with that. This guy worked out, it was the most amazing video. It taught me a lot. We're probably all of us on an autism or Asperger spectrum. We are. But autism is the part of the brain that's damaged, maybe for...
No, it's not damaged, sister.
Well, let's just say
it's different.
Let me finish this. I haven't finished what I was saying. Okay. So let me just finish this bit, just to explain it to you. Yeah, it's going to be a bit different to that, but this is how I've heard it. So he's saying what's happening is they've got a damage on one side of their brain, which is the arts, which is the mathematical side. So they're very arty. And Asperger's have a problem on the other side of their brain, and they're into numbers. And then what it is they even smile. One will smile one way and one will smile the other. And honestly, I do think that that plays a part, how we smile. Like if you smile to the left, you're Asperger's. If you smile to the right, no, it's the other way around. To the left is autism. You have to watch the video. To the right is Asperger's. And he was showing film stars and people who are on the spectrum. It doesn't mean we've been diagnosed. It doesn't mean some people say, I feel detached, I feel this. So I think they've got us into these spectrums and they're using it that way. Because I just think we're stuck between Asperger's and autism, all of us.
There may be some truth to that.
I'll send you the video to show you what I mean. It's the most amazing video. This guy
I don't want to say that I understand it totally, but I want to talk in a general sense. That's pigeonholing people that we don't know anything about, because I've done enough charts now, and I haven't done thousands or anything else, but I've done them in a good way, where every person, it's in their chart. So that's who they are, but they don't teach us in school all these different people who are brothers and sisters that share the land with us.
School to me should be, I know that it isn't, but the bottom part of school should be teaching the children to learn who they are.
Right, because
that would be a good start.
Sister, they're not damaged. They're just a different chart. They're here for a reason. They're here to help us. The perfect person is the one that obeys the law and the government. That's what we've been programmed to think, to have lack of bravery, and to go after a false idol. So what they've done is put a whole bunch of images in your mind, so you're all thinking the same thing. That's how they're controlling the masses, by showing you an image. So you got to make sure that every day you only put good images in your brain. You're going to help the collective conscience. If you keep going, I mean, everybody's got to have their share at the rabbit hole to find out if they want to. But if you don't really have to, if you don't want to, but know that the ones that are just following their government and watching the TV, they are the river we're swimming against the grain. But it's turning the other way around now. They're going to start swimming against the grain, because spirit, this is Moses' part in the water. We're going down that path. But you only can be on that path, or else you'll feel the current. You'll feel the resistance if you start thinking without the positive thoughts. This is like a vortex. We're all trying to get into that vortex. And that's the path. That's the story of Moses. So long as you vibrate not good thoughts, so long as you allow not good images and thoughts, you will not be on that path, and you will stay in the whirlwind of the man, at what he's created, out of profit, out of greed, out of all those things that don't serve us, and they will all be gone. It all depends on how much you want to feel from here till 3.5 years from now is going to be a beautiful gauge.
Just to tell everybody that you've helped me.
Aries for 100 and something years.
You've helped me, because I've got affirmations through you that I've got written down there right next to me. Love and light, I am worth it, etc., etc.
Absolutely, but at the same time, Spirit is asking you to get rid of material stuff. That's the part that we're going through. We're getting baptized into the age of Aquarius. And that is John the Baptist. John the Baptist is Aquarius. It's the man holding the waters, pouring it down. Water is spirit. Every water drop knows everywhere it's been. It's proven. Everybody knows it. So I shouldn't say everybody. So what we got to do is jump in, go with the flow. It's great when you just think positive. The people that never, even the ones that don't care to be, how can I say this? I'm trying to say it in a nice way. People that just don't really care, I just go with the flow, and they live their life happy. They have a happy life. That's people's certain charts, certain qualities. You got the different qualities, and you got the different elements in your chart, and that's who you are. Now, people don't really get the fact that the Vatican play with the calendar. They play with so many things so that they can own the stock market. We've already done it. We've already seen.
You've reminded me there's 2 astrology charts as well, so you've got to sort of divide it between the 2, haven't you? Because one says one thing and one's out by a certain percentage.
Right.
So you've got to take.
So this part's research. Okay, so when I say the word research, I'm not saying that I know. This is where it's leading us to. Tropical is really important, but the way that Western is using tropical, it's not correct. Our research is showing, and we know it's not correct because what's actually happening in the sky is proof to everything that I say. And when I say I really don't mean I mean we, because we are all our past lives, all our past people we've talked to, everything we've learned from people is we, the collective conscious, because we're all one. And that's really, really, really something you need to grasp. So you got to treat everybody like they're your brother, they're your sister, because we are one. So the Dendra zodiac is the footprint, is the original footprint. So to us, this is research now, we think that that is the tropical zodiac, because the alignments and different things that are happening on there, including the flooding of the Nile River, all lines up with the Dendra zodiac based on the seasons. So it's in there. So they've left a lot of breadcrumbs for us. And I
Do you
can
know
talk
something
about
else
these
that's a bit
beautiful
strange?
breadcrumbs.
Do you know
Sorry?
something else that's a bit strange that I don't know where this fits in for us, but I went out with Marie Wheatley last weekend and she'd found this long barrow, which is on military ground. And I hadn't realised that the military are only
What's
where
a
the
long barrel?
energy.
Just so, I don't know what a long barrel is, just so I can follow you.
Well, what she is, she's in with Brian Forrester. Yeah, they're archaeologists, and she's a dowser, so she uses sticks to find energy, and that's in her family.
Okay.
But what it is that they have come across the long barrows have people buried in them, and they have elongated heads.
Oh,
And
long barrels are a race of people. Okay, thank you.
and they were here before us, although we obviously killed them off. The round barrows are the round-headed people, and the long barrows are the long-headed people. And she found this long barrow, and what it is through history, just going through hard copy, she's found that people have seen it and know that there's one person buried in there, only one. Like she must be a queen or something, and she's only a few miles away from Stonehenge.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that word. Go ahead,
Well,
sorry.
whatever she was, she was special because the long barrows, they have some reason that they're doing something in them, and then they turn them into burial chambers, and maybe 40, 50 people are in them, but only she's in it. So she must have been special in her time. And she thinks that they made Avebury and Silbury Hill and Stonehenge. And then years later, other people have come along and built bits and done things, but they're not the same era. And then we've killed them off. So we're the aliens.
Yeah, see, I don't go my brain there
No,
because
in their terminology. I'm not saying we're aliens. I'm just saying if anybody is the aliens, it has to be us because we came after them.
But I only say that, Karen. I know you know that. I only say that because we have listeners potentially, right?
So, yeah, it's really strange because these elongated people, they have extra chakras.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible, but
they're subhuman compared to us. If we call ourselves human, they're subhuman because they're not us. They're totally different. You're thinking we're here in history, and suddenly these elongated-headed people have come up. Like,
yeah, see,
what happened to the rest of our
that's the whole
history?
point. That's the whole point of this whole discussion. Everything happens for a reason, and
those people look more Middle Eastern, like they could have been Tartarians.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that if it's a real living being that was on Earth, it can only be your brother or your sister. It can only be you in a past life. It can only be a being here waiting for a certain special moment to occur.
Really strange thing, the military have a big base down by Stonehenge. When you go into it, you can go into this long barrow if the flags aren't up. If the flags are up, there's live ammunition around, so you can't go in them. But the military all around them, and in fact, they use this long barrow to take the tanks over, which they've stopped now. And the other thing she noticed was that because obviously she's been interested in and she's been looking at these elongated headed people for about 5 years. When you get there now, they put a Faraday cage around it to stop the energy coming out. So obviously it's special. And she's noticing other places, tombs and that, they put metal around it like a Faraday cage to stop the energy coming out. But it's very weird that they're all in military places. Like wherever the military is, there's something special because they want the energy.
So here's the part about being positive and being brave. With you go to look to things like that, all you got to know is that man during Pisces age thought he can control the earth. Okay? He thought he can do all these voodoo, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it.
She's
Wait,
noticed that
I gotta finish my
they did
comment.
stuff, but
I'm
they
gonna
did
lose my
stuff with the
thought.
stars. They did stuff with the stars, and they didn't even have computers. They were far more advanced than we were. Ah, was we need
Yes.
computers to do it.
Well, you got to understand that the internet is the collective consciousness breeding before we can do it. We're going to do it all over again till we get it right. So my point is, when you, in order to go through this, and if you choose to go down the rabbit hole and start looking for these things, because if you're one of these type of charts like me, Karen, whatever, and we want to go through, we want to look for truth, know that man has played a huge deception in all this because he thought he could control the earth. That's how silly these are. These people are your brothers and sisters. They're going to get a lesson. This baptismal age
But they have,
with
haven't they? They have
this
done it in a
let me
way because
finish,
they've
let me finish, let
made
me finish, Karen,
society
please.
believe we're on something that's spinning around when we're not moving. So they have done it.
Right. So the whole process is coming to a huge change as we get baptized. The baptismal process that they did in the churches, although the churches, we understand, they've gone through some of their own tyrannical things, but our foremothers and forefathers demanded the baptismal process. That was because it was a celebration. So the baptismal process was a breadcrumb for us to remember this moment that's happening now. I have to digress. It's the same topic. One day we're sitting here with our neighbors here on a usual Friday night, play some skitbo card game, and my buddy looks at me and says, "Where's your chain?" You know, being a play on words because I'm Italian and I don't have my chain. I don't have a chain. Well, I do have one. It's been in my travel bag for probably a couple of years now. It's always with me, but I took it off. It's a gift from my mother. Because I went down the rabbit hole, I lost this faith in this chain because of the things I was learning about the church in the process. But I soon realized, with all the studies I've been doing, that the chain with the cross around your neck is an ankh. And the ankh is what the Egyptians held. That's your life path. This is your circle, going around the circle and dying on the cross. All your repeated lives, repeated lessons, all your reincarnations till you get it right. So in order for us to never forget this moment now of this baptismal, they put a chain with a cross on it. They didn't know why. They thought they knew why, but that's the Jesus within. That's to remind us of our journey as a Jesus within, and we're all Jesus is within, all the Christ within. We're all going through that same experience to get back to one. So these are the breadcrumbs they've left for us. This is the strength we have. We're spiritual. We don't go to church anymore. I
I
always
have a
felt great coming
hangout.
out of there because that was the vibration that was coming out of the church. It was the resonant that our brothers and sisters in the past built so that you can resonate and feel good. But the word was there. I didn't really want to listen to it. I understand why, because of the translations of the Bible. But the Bible is an astrology book.
But it might be that churches weren't churches originally. They looked like they were big structures. And what it was is I was on a hangout with Stan Smith, and in the 1800s they were doing 4D pictures, which is quite incredible because we don't think that they would, but they did. And not just that, churches, they had great big wheels in them, and they were looking at the stars. And what it is that Stan keeps finding these symbols on the buildings and on these churches. They were looking at the stars, and then they turned them into churches.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, that's because they were following what I now have a desire to do based on guidance, based on images in the clouds. I know that we need to do it. And that's what
Hello,
They're
Claudio?
trying to try to deceive you, and this was their last hurrah with TV and everything else. So know that the man who thought that he can control the earth, all right, and it's not that Satan word, because Satan means saint. Okay, they played with the languages, they've made them, so that's just all part of the whole rabbit hole thing you don't have to go into, but just know that that's it, they're done. And they know they're done, except they don't know that the Madonna is back. Because if they did, they wouldn't be doing this. Because she's got a great big wooden spoon, and those that are not good are going to get it. And you're going to see it's already happening with all kinds of people that are hanging on to the material stuff. And the ones that got billions and trillions, they're the biggest materialists. You can see them start already scrambling. Lebanon, they all leave, some explosions. They create their own explosions so they can have an excuse to leave. They're running scared. Our brothers and sisters who were profit mongers are running scared. They're finished. They're done. So just know that. The rest is all us. You remember George Orwell when they did the alien thing? That was their test. All they got to do is say, alien, and then just sit back and watch the whole country go crazy. So they did the same thing. They know the corona cleanse is coming. They don't follow everything, but they knew that was something based on the different plagues that you can follow. If you use not the right astrology, you can't follow it, but they use the right astrology, but not all of it. It's obvious they don't use all of it. So all you got to do is say, squirrel, and everybody looks the other way and runs or whatever, right? Like a dog. He forgets what he is doing and he just goes. So they just said, virus, and the whole world went in turmoil, all on their own. We do it to ourselves because of our programming. And then we want to rely on them and turn to them and use them as a false idol. That's the Armageddon that everybody's feeling. So just let go of that. Don't let them control your life, because you are in charge of your life with your images and your thoughts. And spirit will guide you. Ask for the guidance. Look up at the stars. You don't have to go lurking in detail, but try to follow somebody who knows. If you look around, everybody's trying to be a Moses right now, because we're in that mode of trying to get in the right path. So everybody thinks they're on the right path. Everybody thinks that they're going in the right direction. Well, when you can sit back and see that everybody's doing that, we're going to all end up in the middle someday. But which one's right and which one's not right? We're researching. We're researching. We're using the ancient breadcrumbs. There's so much misunderstanding of those breadcrumbs. But when you start paying attention, you get the guidance. Just like those two lizards showed up when we started talking. Just like my buddy saying, hey, do you have a chain? All these things are coming on. If you guys haven't seen, if the viewers have not seen, babe, what's the movie? Celestial.
Cool. Can I tell you something?
Hang on, just let me just finish. This is important. Babe, what's the name of that movie? Celestial. Celestine Prophecy. If you want to go look to see what's happening in the world right now, go look at Celestine Prophecy. All right, it's one of the worst rated movies because it wasn't a high money movie. It's the whole thing is that people by the millions will go look at science fiction, fantasy, and all kinds of not true things that are impossible in this world by the millions and give up their money to go see it. But Celestine Prophecy, hang on. But Celestine Prophecy, which is happening right now with the transferring of information from one loving person to another to get through what we're going through, that movie nails it. So if you have the chance, look at that. It's a really feel-good movie if you can jump into that. You can find it on YouTube. You can, I think Amazon's got it. But watch that movie. It's going to give you the bravery. Because when you start seeing all these things, like the lizard showing up and giving us that sign, it's crazy. The raccoons show up to talk to you about putting on masks or not. And I don't mean the physical mask that we're wearing.
That fly that keeps flying into me. Wake up! I'm telling you something now.
I had a friend one day told me, I says, I never get any signs. I never get any signs. And then the next day she says to me, my cat always sits on my lap and sits and stares at my face. If I try to look around her at the TV, she moves her head in front of me, in front of me, in front of me. And I started laughing. I said, sister, that's your sign. The cat's right in front of you. We missed the signs. There's so many loving, beautiful signs. Stick to those. That's how you get to stay brave. Ask for guidance. Talk to all your whoever is passed into angels, whoever it is, ask for guidance. It'll come in strange forms. It may come from if you stop your car and give $20 to a homeless person, and they say, hey, your headlight's out. Ah, my headlight's out. Okay. Now, I can't find out what's wrong with my headlight, but eventually somebody's going to tell me at the right time because I can't fix it. It's a short or something. But that's going to lead me to something somewhere. And that's the way it works. That's how your guidance works. You really have to tune into it. Numerology is lambasting people. Like I just had my buddy call me last night. He says he had another buddy that wanted to just stop whatever he's doing and go visit him. He says, no, I'm working. Like if I take a lunch, it'll be an all day. So let's do it Saturday. He says, I'm being lambasted with these numbers. I need to know what they mean. So that spirit reeling us in, we have no choice. If you want to pull back like the fish does and start ripping the hook out of your mouth and go through all that trouble, no, you don't want to do that. Go with the flow. There's so much.
Something else that came to me. I don't know what this really means, Claudio, but you know, when we watch Blade Runners, did you ever think that Harrison Ford was a Blade Runner? Because I watched this video, it just came up, you know, I just watched it. And they were talking that Harrison Ford is a Blade Runner in the film.
I don't know what that means.
Well, do you remember the film Blade Runners?
No.
They're basically androids. It was in the 80s, and Harrison Ford was the hero. And he falls in love with an android, and they end up, because obviously they don't know how long she's going to live, but he goes off with her in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But what this person was saying was, this other person keeps turning up. He used to play in Miami Vice. He was a police officer in Miami Vice. That's how I remember him. And he makes these little oregano things, but he always turns up at the wrong time in the film, as if watching Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford isn't a human. He's an android. He's one of them and doesn't realise it. And I've watched that film in the 80s. I've watched it loads of times. I never thought that Harrison Ford was one of them. So I'm just saying, you see what they can do to us. They can.
Yeah, they twisted the truth around.
Yeah, the truth's now.
They made you think that if you ask for guidance and things are going to show up to you and always give you the not good things. So guess what? If that's what you want to manifest, if that's what you want in your life, it will come towards you. So by you watching not positive movies, fiction movies, what you're doing is telling the universe that's the experience you want to have. So if that's the experience you want to have, it's going to be multiplied right now. So use positive words, because you don't want to use the not positive words, because you're going to get that. It's going to attract to you. And I see people all the time getting those things attracted to them more and more. So it's like mama's last hurrah. I said, are you sure that's what you really want? Are you sure that's what you really want? Because I'm going to give it to you. So by watching those movies, man knows you're going to get what you want. Because they think they can control us again. But guess what? The materialistic people are going to have their own karmic things happening to them. It's a beautiful thing. Just think positive and you'll be fine. It shouldn't be that hard. Who gets the views? Who gets the views? Who gets the views? Science fiction, aliens, all these different things that people allow in their head. That's who gets the views.
Yeah.
We're programmed to be not good because these people are just profit mongers. They're yelling squirrel again.
Did you think that something was going to be happening to us? Is that originally, that's why we were going to have a hangout, wasn't it? It's because you think something's coming up for us, don't you?
Absolutely. It's already started. But this is now me continually researching, getting guidance on what's next. So yes, we're in an anaparana. You know, I don't like these. Not that I don't like the words. It's just when you say those words, you think, oh no, that's something else. I get it. I get the same feeling when I first heard it. But anyway, the Queen of the Heavens, Juno, oversees all the planets. Okay, all the planets on one side of the Earth, of the map, of the sky. So between the north and south nodes, and you know those nodes are there for the eclipses. So the moon's north and south node. I don't know if you guys are into astrology or not, but just picture an umbrella. Umbrella sitting down, open. She's at the top of the handle, standing upright, and all the planets are on the other side. Juno is the shape of a peacock, and that's the shape of a peacock. When you look at a peacock, it looks like an umbrella, but standing up instead of upside down. So she is the queen of the heavens. That's the only rightful term of the word queen, because queen trumps kings. In the stars, the queen trumps the kings. Men makes you believe the other way around. So that's why you don't see kings anymore, because the truth is coming out and they got to mimic the truth. So you have that beautiful woman, Juno, on one side of the chart. And slowly they've been coming out. And this is our programming and this is our lessons. So if you're not paying attention to that, or at least listening to somebody that does, then you won't know what to expect. So on September the 2nd, there's a whole bunch of beautiful events. I put it in my last video if you want to go watch it. I don't monetize or anything else. I'm not against people who do. I'm just saying I don't. So I don't do it. I do it only for just to show love and show support for people. So that you can be brave and be positive. On September the 2nd, Juno is going to be rising in the east as Eris, the mother, the Madonna, the Wizard of Oz, the queen of the underworld, the queen of the night. They meet face to face. So Eris setting in the west, Juno rising in the east. That's the story of the Wizard of Oz. The white and the black. But see, man didn't portray that properly. The only thing that the Black Witch is going to be upset about is the people who haven't been good.
Was it you that I was talking about, where we call it the Wicked Witch of the West? She
Yes.
wasn't wicked. Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. No, she's not wicked. She's going to be wicked to the ones that are freaking not good. And that's what's happening in the sky right now, and nobody's getting it. So when you jump into something that is positive, understand this. This is the story of Santa Claus. Now get this. This is really cool. Now, the story of Santa Claus in Italy is La Befana. Now, La Befana is a woman who's on a broomstick. Oh, there's the Wicked Witch of the West. But La Befana gives gifts. But she brings gifts of goodness for those who are good, and gifts not so good for those who aren't good. That's what's happening in the sky right now. The true Easters are coming upon us. In the next 2 years, the sun is going to be rising with the Madonna, which is Eris, on Easter. So we've been practicing Easter just as another breadcrumb for this time here. It's here. It's upon us. And man's last attempt, virus, to put everybody in a tizzy, while they don't really understand that this is their last hurrah. She's coming in and out of our heads, cycling from Pisces into Aries. That's from our red shift to our blue shift into our head. That's a corona. Your head is a corona. That's why they called it a coronavirus. But the virus is a process. It's not a thing. It's a cleansing process. And we're being cleansed right now, big time. I've done coronaviruses in people's charts. I've done 2 of them, maybe 3. And it's very obvious. I just don't have them all. And I've done so many different things with doing people's charts for medical astrology based on what we know now. And it's becoming so easy. So they're gifting us with this knowledge. Just jump in. The water's warm. Go with the flow.
Most of us don't know how to read it, though, do we, Claudio? That's the thing. Most of us don't understand.
And that's okay. That's why we're having this discussion. You could just remain positive and don't let man put a negative, I'm sorry, I'm not using those words. Don't let him put a not positive word, not positive thought, not positive image in your brain. If you have to listen to somebody because it's a friend, then think of the lizard, objective detachment. You sit there, try not to let in too much, and just go, okay, 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 and then change subject. You do the squirrel thing. Squirrel. So when somebody's not talking good, do the squirrel thing. Oh, shit. And then boom, everybody gets off topic. And then change the topic to something lighter. The absolute opposite is happening when you start talking positive. People want to switch the topic and somebody yells squirrel. Know that that's everybody's programming that doesn't want to go there. That's their inherent programmed resistance. So you got to get good at being able to politely getting back into that conversation, because somebody wants to yell squirrel when you're trying to see something good and heartfelt that brings everybody in a beautiful place. So I'm glad you wanted to do this talk, Karen, because I know there's a lot of people that love hearing the words because it's positive. That's what we need. But then somebody's going to come knocking on the back of your head, on your door, while you're trying to be there, and it's going to be your own images of what these not good men and women have done. They filled your head with materialistic things. The 440 hertz versus 432. The 440 hertz, they figured out, it makes you more materialistic, so you go and spend money. That's why the music industry changed to that. The Vatican changed the calendar so you wouldn't know how to do the stock market. Like I said earlier, we did the stock market. We did a couple times already, and we don't want to use it for making material stuff. No, we're snapping out of that. We're just proving that they're using the right astrology. And it is. Is there things we're still not knowing? Of course there is. But I can say that I get guidance to this. They wake us up when Mars is with Aries right now. Mars is with Eris right at the cusp of Aries, because Mama's going to be going back into Pisces again. And that university one there tells you really simply, when she goes back into Pisces in retrograde, you got to go within and start thinking about what materialistic things can you get rid of, mentally and physically. When she goes back direct in Pisces, you must get rid of them. The calendar's in there. I got it on my video. So then when she comes back into Aries, going direct, you need to practice your spiritualism, your positiveness. So when she goes further into Aries every year, then when she comes, just one more thing, and then when she comes back in your head, you got to go within and start thinking. That's what we should be doing right now, is going within and thinking, what do I need to be doing different spiritually? This is the lesson we're getting. It's a work hardening. It's simple. This is real schooling. Not what we've been through. That's man's schooling. No, this is spiritual schooling. It's upon us. But you don't have to go and buy books and go to university. It's free. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, all I was just saying was that all they ever talk about is material existence for us. We're in a capital, material, money. And so a lot of people just log on to that rather than the spiritual side. But we have nothing if we don't have the spiritual side. You can't even have the money side without the spiritual side. But, that's what they've done to us, isn't it? They've hooked us into a materialistic existence. And that's what we think we have to live under.
Yep. I just had my reminder pop up every day when Juno rises in the east. I go out and have a little talk with her, telling her, wishing, because she's more about partnerships.
People realise how important the stars are, though, do they, Claudio?
No,
they don't realise.
No, they don't. You know a fiber optic cable? It's fast, isn't it? Well, the star is way faster. It's a communication line, and they listen to you. That's that's not just some pretty lightness guy. That's a communication platform, just like a fiber optic cable. So is the moon, so is the sun. All of them have a purpose.
The really sad bit is, though, that they're pretending like none of this is happening when they're actually running everything for our astrology in the first place. But telling you that it's a load of rubbish and hippies follow that, and making so a lot of people aren't into it for various reasons.
Right,
now.
because they were using it to control the stock market. They know exactly how people behave.
But
I had a brother.
you should be using astrology for that, should you really? It's a spiritual thing, not a material thing.
Right. What's wrong with everybody having abundance? So now we start thinking, during the dark ages, it's our lesson. It's our lesson because some of us are going to go not the right way. And then some of us are going to think that, no, we can control this realm being that we're in. We can learn from those Egyptians and find out what afterlives and try to find myself in my afterlife and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, maybe they got away with that. Not sure. But nobody's exempt now. No one's exempt. It's the story of the vampires seeing the light, except it's the reverse. See, everything's backwards. We're starting to see the spirit light. And that's what's going to make the fall of Babylon. The fall of Babylon is upon us. They know it, they feel it, but they're trying. They're trying so hard not to let go of their materialistic things, billions and trillions of dollars. And God only knows what else they do, and I don't want to discuss them because I want to stay positive and brave. The whole point is, don't let that thought, it's not happening to you. If it's not in your life, if it comes into your life, you have to ask why. Why did that come in my life? Did I will it here? What lesson am I getting? Because you will get them. We all get them. We're all getting these tests. It's how we react to them. I'm still learning. I still get tested every day in different ways. And they seem to line up with the day of the week. Fridays is environment day. And then I get people come and spray poisons on all the plants and the animals and the fish here, the ones that are banned. So I do my part and try to vibrate to everybody that needs to stop. I did my part, and now it's objective detachment. I vibed the water. I don't have to do anything else. Every single atom on this earth feels your vibe. Every thought, everything you do. You start to win when we all vibe the same vibe. They were winning because they got us to vibe with them. But now spirit comes and says, party's over, mama's home. Remember when your parents would leave, or if you were only with one parent, your parent would leave and say, be good now. And if it would become every week, then you could plan and have parties and not be good. Well, that's what's happening right now. Mama's gone. She was gone, and now she's back. She's back now, and she's checking in. She's giving you 3.5 years to fix
You're
it.
saying this is the bit where we wake up. This should be more of a wake up for us. We've been given another wake up.
This is the grand wake up. Because our history books of the last 2,000 years aren't very good. That's the Dark Ages. But this one here is a different one, Age of Aquarius. When you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's beautiful. Love will steer the stars. The stars are going to steer the love. You have no choice. We're going back to one love. So if you can jump in, you're going to feel incredible. You're going to get your tests. Ask questions. It's in your chart. It's in your chart.
Sorry, Claudio,
Everything
you just broke up. You just broke up then. Claudio was saying we're into one love, aren't you? That's what you were saying.
Yes, I was saying that the stars are creating the one love back. So jump in. You're all going to get your tests. And that's why I started alluding to. We all get them.
You think everybody's having a test right now, don't you?
100%. 100%. 100%. Because we went through this experience so we can know what it's like to be materialistic. Every one of us. We're all brothers and sisters. Even the people that got trillions of dollars. They're our brother and sister. And we all know we all need to become one again. So you got to love them. You don't want your world to change based on that world, because spirit's going to direct you which way you want. And everything lines up to me is that if you don't want to go there, you'll come back and try again, but with karmic attachments. And that's what's branded in your chart based on the Akashic records, based on Mercury. It's so evident. with all the breadcrumbs they've left behind for us. Your chart has karmic attachments to it. I know it. I've done my own. I found my surgeries in my chart. I found all sorts of things in my chart. When you do the astrology right, when you try to go research that based on current Western astrology and a lot of the other astrologies, it's difficult to see. But I'm getting guided to it. They're teaching me how to do it. Spirit is. It's invigorating. But I still have my karmic attachments and my tests. And trust me, they're there. But I accept them. I love them. I understand why the things happen, no matter what it is, physically or mentally. It's like, thank you very much for that lesson. I get it. And if there's something that you know you've done that wasn't good in the past, go back and replay it in your mind. Those people are showing back up in my life under a different person. And I show them love. There's the tests. But I go back and replay that with that person and say, no, that didn't happen. Here's what happened. And it was beautiful, no matter what the circumstance was. Everybody's got their own stories. Everybody is playing out their chart based on previous lives or previous last life. We're infinite. We're infinite. And we are gods. The word God is light. Light means, and still in manifest. The true source is the dark between the stars. The fixed stars are those who are more pure towards, right? Towards the black. The stars you can't see, the planets you can't see, the asteroids you can't see, whatever NASA wants to call them, they're all luminaries to me. They're all lights. The ones you can't see are stronger because you can't see them with the naked eye. And that be Juno, that be Eris. All the ones that are saying that NASA teaches you are minor planets, minor asteroids. No. They're major. You need them to predict the
Do you
stock
know something
market.
that people
That's why they don't want you to know.
Claudio? I've seen it twice. What it was is this person, I've lost touch with them. They were struggling a bit in their life when this happened, and it was a few years ago. But it's when the moon hits the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. It comes in really fast. So when anybody sees one of these moons where you can see it moving, it's coming to pick the stars up and move them. Does it twice a month. I saw it 1 month, but you have to have it that time at night time and no clouds. That's quite rare in the UK.
Right.
But I saw it and I was standing on the landing going, oh my God. But what it is I needed Stan's 360 camera so I could see what was happening with the rest of the stars. But I saw it come in, pick the stars up, bring them back, kind of drop them off and then go off in a heartbeat shape. And a lot of people are noticing when they're doing any recording, like any information, it always goes into a heartbeat, just like that moon did out there. Heartbeat sign in the sky. That's what it did.
Yeah.
The moon moves the stars around. So what about the moon then? The moon's really important, much more than we think.
Well, the moon is a luminary, right? 100%. The moon is one of the fastest luminaries that are moving around.
I can't believe that people aren't talking about it more. That I'm one of the only people that's seen this and recognises it, and nobody's really talking about the fact that the moon moves the stars and probably helps with our season.
That part, I got to see that, Karen, because I don't understand it. Doesn't. So it's how like I gotta witness it with you. So I gotta witness it with you because it's
you have to know your sky, but at night time, if you see a moon moving really fast, it's going to get the stars and then bring them back and then go off. You've got to know where your moon comes up and what it does. Excuse me a minute.
I watch the moon every day when I can see it, obviously. I see the moon all the time. The moon moves fast. Yeah, the moon moves faster than the stars. We know that, right?
Look up when it's hitting the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer. But you know what? I have the same thing here with the Big Dipper because I get such a good view of the Big Dipper going around my house. And I was saying to people, no, what it does is when it goes into the first bend, the thing turns round. And then it goes off in a different direction. Then it turns round. And it goes off in another direction. And it turns round. And people are going, nah. until a few people watched it and they went, "Oh my God, I saw it."
Yeah,
Now I
I
realise
hope you
what
can
you
get a
were
video of that,
saying.
because I'd like to see that, because that's something I'd love to learn.
Big Dipper, and I know that it's different for people in other parts, and I can't record it because I don't have a camera at night time. But I've seen it do it. It
Yeah.
turns round, and then what it is they tell us these stars are not what do you call it? They're not together. They're not, like they're not a. Oh, what's the word? They're not together. These stars, but they are. And they work together and they turn around and they do all these things. And this thing goes around my house, which is really crazy because we must be very north for that to happen.
You're more north, so you'll see it. And I see the Big Dipper turning around me too. It's in a different perspective because
Watch how it turns round and its back goes round and it goes right round and it changes direction and then it goes off somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, that's what happens throughout the night. Yes, because it's the relative movement between us and the firmament. Okay. Or
It's a
it's
strange
not a
thing to
movement,
say
or
because I say it goes around my house, but it's not going around. It's making like a diamond or a square shape around my house.
right.
But on the left hand side of my house, it's only that high.
Right.
And when it's on the right hand side of my house, it's right up in the sky.
Right. So
they're not on the same levels.
There's many theories on and this one guy, he only gets like 12, 15, 20 views, and I think he's going somewhere, because that's usually what happens, is the ones that find truth, they don't get very many people following them, because it's not fantastical and science fiction and something that makes you want to wonder. Don't get it, but maybe I used to. The lights may be coming from the North Pole. There's a theory, okay, but it seems to make sense. So if we get a light coming from the North Pole that projects the images of stars and the planets, and of course they'll get washed out and it wobbles, which is the same thing that a magnet does. So it just makes too much sense. It kind of fits with Ken Wheeler's theory of the magnet, which is dielectricity. So when we look
everything's
up,
electromagnetics, isn't it?
100%. So when we look up, the sky might not be turning. It may just be the stars and the sun reflecting off of the firmament into our eyes, which makes a lot of sense. If you want to take a mirrored dome and reflect light off it from the middle and put a fiber optic, somebody's going to do it. I know somebody will. But the whole point is the stars are up there and they're going in these beautiful patterns. And they are our cosmic clock. Our cosmic clock being that of expansion, right? It's how magnets grow and how things move around. I shouldn't say magnets grow. It's to do with the theory of incommensurability.
Yeah, there's different stars up there as well, isn't there, Claudia? There's different types of stars.
Well, they're different brightnesses. One's more pure than the next. And some have been, and some have different colors. That's to vibe with your chakras.
Well, in the old days, maybe with the elongated people, they were using the stars for everything. And we don't, in our day-to-day life. I'm not saying you, and I'm not saying...
Well, I get that. I get for the most part, people aren't doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
And then you have every culture doing it differently. I realize the difference, that there is a difference. I'm not saying I know the differences. I realize that there is a difference. But I go back to Ken Wheeler's work, which is 100% undeniable. I mean, the guy has studied and he's brought everything down to root basics and grow up from there. And then once you have that premise, you can keep sifting through the waters, making sure that it fits with that model, because that model is how everything grows. You know, talking about Fibonacci spirals and all that stuff. I understand it now, and I have him to thank a great deal. I have Santos Bonacci to thank, because he started me on this journey. So we have to understand that we're all still learning, but Spirit wants us to, and to jump in and release material. If you can do that, your life is going to be so much better, and stick with only the positive. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, be strong. Go see what man's done, but just know, use objective detachment like the lizard teaches us. Learn, let it go. If you must. Because me, I needed to go and find out what really happened and then grow through this to get to where I'm at. But it really all started when I looked up at the sun because I saw somebody. This is that movie I'm telling you about. I saw somebody say, if you want to know how to learn everything about this cosmos, go stand out in the sun, look the sun in the eyes, and say, please, I can't remember the exact words, but basically say, please guide me to understand everything there is to know about the universe so that I may bring heaven on earth. That's the words that I use with the sun. And the next thing you know, all kinds of videos and things started happening to me. And then I had all kinds of different epiphanies from ones I've already had, because they're trying to wake you up with these moments. If you go and stub your toe, it's trying to tell you something. If a butterfly lands on you, it's not you're lucky. No, they're looking to tell you something.
Well, I like that fly buzzing around. It hasn't been here for a few days, but for about a week. Any fly, just that was it. Boom, bang, dong.
Go to spirit.
Me, and I was like,
go to spirit-animals.com. Put fly. Hit search. There's a box that comes up. Just read that box. You can read down below. Only stick with the positive stuff because you're already here. You don't need to see the not positive. And I just recommend you don't read the not positive. So just read the box up top. And that's your message. That is your message from those animal spirit totems. That's why the Indians made totem poles. Because they must have been really, really affected by these animals and insects and birds or what have you.
just that, when I told you about what you can see in the nighttime, this person's made pictures of them, and some of them look like, what the black people have in the tribes. They have those shields. They look like what's on the shields. It's like these people from before must have known so much more.
That was us. That was us. It wasn't somebody else. It's us. All the people of the past is us. Until we get it right, until we go back to one love, till we get back to the Garden of Eden, we keep going around the circle.
And you ain't going to find that on the television, are you?
No. No, you're not. Because they don't want you to know that you're reincarnated.
You're only going to find it in yourself.
If you knew that you could be you're being reincarnated and be good, and your life will always get successfully better and better and better to attain the proper wisdom and knowledge, life is going to be good.
Is this purgatory?
Hang on. If somebody then puts images in your head that you're not infinite, you're going to go to work. When you know you're infinite, are you going to be held in servitude by some kings and queens that are false idols?
Is this purgatory here then, Claudio?
To me, I call it's a God training camp. This is where you get to experience what it's like being in manifest, being in wanting, being in needing, being in materialistic. It's a training camp for us. We get to have these experiences. And all those prophet guys, when they jumped into this sea, this pond, coming out of the womb of the the ether, the mama of all, they said, "Don't worry, I will wake up and I will make things right. I know what my path is," and we all jumped in holding hands. But we lose our way in the Pisces age. That's a lesson for us. Don't do Claudio, that materialistic stuff.
Can we just stop for 2 minutes? James has just called me. I need to just answer James and I'll be back. Just stay there for 2 seconds. I'll just stop the...
Alrighty.
Right, here we go. James is here, Claudio.
Hey, James, how you doing?
Oh, greetings, I should say.
Awesome.
Yeah, James has popped in to see me today. Yeah, and
Okay. I've just done a rescue mission. I can't really say too much about it, but they've got sort of information on sex trafficking and things, and I've got them over here out of country in Europe, and that's why we ended up going over. So they've got a job with accommodation. They're all set up now, so they're out the frying pan and not into the fire.
Long way for you to go, James. Miles away from where you live.
I used to do long distance lorry driving. Where we went to, and I thought, I've delivered here. There used to be army trucks across the road because it's an industrial estate.
If we just explain, because obviously you've just told us that where you've been, but me and Claudio's really into the stars and feels that we're going through a change.
Yeah.
And I was just telling him that you were going through one yesterday, weren't you? You were saying that you felt really down.
There's a lot of people seem to be feeling it at the moment.
Does Claudio say that's how it's supposed to be?
It's that Jupiter Saturn dance, I think, that's going on. There's one break.
It's everybody's depends on your chart, right? But and it depends what's happening to you. When did it start? When did it peak? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like right now, Mars lined up with Eris in Aries, and all kinds of people are feeling head things, right? So there's people that are feeling earaches. I did a person's chart that with the earache. I found it, told them it's going to be gone by Wednesday, and lo and behold, started Saturday, gone by Wednesday. So, right, this is all part of our. This is, the Led Zeppelin song, "Stairway to Heaven." Your head is humming, and you don't know, because it won't go. The piper's calling you to join him. So they want you to look at the stars. They want you to understand spirit, and that's what's happening.
You said it came Saturday, went Wednesday.
No, that was for a person's earache.
Because I was thinking like
Mars was transiting into Aries, and then lines up with Eris, which is the Madonna, which is Mictecahuatl, which is Isis, which is Befana, which is Freya, which is on and on and on. Everybody's culture talks about this woman that presents herself in the clouds.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be redundant to the viewers, but she's already presented herself to me twice in the clouds, with the luminary behind, once with Eris, once with Juno.
Isn't Mars and Aries, they're both related to fire, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm 100%.
Yeah, so that probably has an impact.
I let Floss out. That's the manicness you can hear in the room. Floss coming to say hello. She was barking down there, so I thought I'd better let her out. Yeah, James, you're into this kind of, aren't you, as well? What Claudio's talking now. You do it maybe differently, but you're still into the same kind of thing.
Just a general overview, rather than going deeply into anything, because there's so much. That's the thing. They're all rabbit holes at the end of it. So it's like look for the patterns, and then because anything in truth seeking is basically saying everything we've been told is a lie. We can debate whether it was planes at 9/11 or explosives or something else, but it's just the theatre show for us, isn't it? Sort of two towers into one.
Yeah, they conveniently put it in a place where it's going to implode from dielectric energy, from energies that they don't talk about that was in the ocean. That's why they knew it was going to happen, because they placed it there. Yeah. We're doing that research. On September the 2nd, that's probably going to be the peak of some major weather. It could be internal and or external. And I'm calling it research because we're researching it. Hurricanes, we've gotten really good, better than good, at predicting when major weather happens.
Yeah.
We've been batting between 90 to 95 to 100% on saying when they will occur. But the where is something different. They know the where. They know the where. And if you take dielectricity, you can implode things. Those twin towers were Tesla towers.
Yeah.
And they absorbed all that dielectricity and imploded it. So the words of implosion, they got to see what implosion looks like. So yeah, they're right. It imploded, but not because of dynamite. That undertaking to do that during construction or let nobody see it is near impossible. All they did was build those buildings there because look at J.P. Morgan's famous quote. Millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do.
Yeah.
So they know where the energies are.
Mm.
We're getting good at that.
Yeah.
We're getting better at that. So September 2nd, when Eris and Juno face off, the Wicked Witch of the West and the Good Witch Glinda of the East,
Yeah.
rising in the East, setting in the West. That's the story of the Wizard of Oz. And Oz, I'm repeating myself, sorry, but for James, the Wizard of Oz is Eris. That's the Madonna. That's all those ladies. It's the same story.
Mm.
We're seeing that leading up to that, probably around the 23rd, 24th. We're still doing the research, trying to find out the where. We're going to get some major weather.
Mm.
What type is it? Not sure, but we're looking into it. So we've done the stock market. We know how they're doing the stock market. So that's in a very, very, we're not going down that path. We've done a couple examples. It happened. I told a day trader a week before, just so he would remember. I said, hey, let me know what happens on May 14th this year. When we went back and seen him at his restaurant, I didn't even ask him. He just came up to me and said, oh, hey, on the 13th, the market crashed, because I told him it would on the 14th, or suspected. And then he said, on the 14th, it started climbing up again. And I thought, oh, it's over. And then boom, it crashed again. And on the 15th, it crashed again. So that's what they do.
Yeah.
They use the right astrology, because the Western astrology doesn't do it right, because or else everybody would be able to predict the stock market. So that's the greed of man. So the astrology works and luminaries work. But now what that's led us to is
how do you do it
what's
between
happening during the
there's two types of astrology though, and you've got to pick in the middle or something, because one's so many degrees out. So how do you work it out then?
Well, no, and to me, like I said, you have to, if you want to know medical astrology of what's happening to you in this life on your 1 to 2 times around the circle, because a circle is 60 years, and that's the circle of 60 that I've talked to you about before, Karen. So if you look at what's in the sky, if you want to know what's happening with the ages, then you got to use the Dendra zodiac, which people, like I said, is research, but we're strongly believing that the tropical zodiac is the Dendra zodiac. That's the footprint of our cosmos, of our existence, which the Egyptians left as our breadcrumbs. So those are the only two that we know are the right path. I went back and looked at the aspects for the Black Death back in the 14 or 1500s. And I found the pattern using sidereal, sidereal, whatever you want to call it. But you put the tropical, there's no way you could do it. That's why nobody's been able to go and see what past pandemics there were, which were cleanses, trying to wake people up to be spiritual. We don't even know if they're
real. I don't think Spanish flu's real, because they don't talk about it at all.
No, they're real cleanses, sister.
Yeah, but they don't talk about it at all. You hear about the suffragettes, you hear about depressions, you don't ever hear it ever mentioned as Spanish flu. So I'm not sure if it even happened. They've stuck that in. Like they're changing our history.
Well,
that's what I'm wondering.
Well, they're doing predictions too, and they may not be using everything correctly. So they're going to say Spanish flu, Spanish flu, Spanish flu, because what they do is they watch astrology, go patent their stuff way in advance, just like the coronavirus, patent ahead of time. They weren't doing it because they knew a virus was coming. No, they knew that there was a process called virus coming. In other words, to vibrate you, to cleanse you. So they use astrology to know when these cleansers are coming and try to sell you shit that don't work. It's just greedy man trying to make pixels based on what you're going to feel regardless of what anybody does. The only way you can lessen the feeling is eat clean, think clean, and then your lessons will be way, way less.
Mm.
No, Karen, I speak with experience
You
and
speak with
knowledge.
forked tongue. You speak with forked tongue, Claudio.
No, I don't speak with a forked tongue.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I try to remain positive, so I just don't use those words. That's all.
Yeah, Claudio doesn't like most of the words I use.
Well,
Claudio,
your soul doesn't either, but that's beside the point.
is there anything else you want to say? Because obviously James has turned up now, so he's here for a couple.
Please, absolutely.
Is there anything else you'd like to say, Claudia? Because we've now been going for an
No,
hour.
I'm good. Yeah, if you want to cut her off, I thought you wanted to let James talk on here, but no, no, please visit with you.
Well, James, got anything to say before we finish?
Well, I'm going down the path of looking at the within and the power of the mind as the possible answer to get out of this.
100%.
Everything seems to point that way. Everything sort of from geometry, numbers, colors, frequencies, sound, light, it all seems to point back to this same answer, which is the answer being within. It's the trick of the unlocking it.
Let me just say one word. Universe. One verse, one song, one vibration. You're right, brother.
Maybe next time when we have a hangout, maybe James can join.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to.
Part 2.
Okay.
I suspect that's why every shop has now got music playing that you go into, and it's obviously at 4:40. The television is at set.
Yeah,
it's set slightly. It's 7 oceans all the time. It's like being that house of mirrors in a fun fair, and everything's a distorted out there. I mean,
you get it. You get it. You get it, brother.
I've seen loads of people with muzzles on.
Oh.
Ooh, squirrel.
I'm waiting for somebody to say to ask me where's my mask. Somebody who works.
I did the other day, first time at Reading Station. And what it is I've got on my black purse.
Yeah.
Just pass that black purse a minute. On the bottom, I've got that which says I am exempt from wearing a mask. So I went like that, and he obviously didn't see. He said, "I've asked you for your mask." I went, "There you go. You're happy now." I hate doing it because I don't have anything wrong with me, but I just don't want to wear the mask.
My first reply would be that would be the same question I'd be asking you if you haven't got one on as well.
Yeah, but that's the really weird thing, James. In the shops, none of the people who are working in the shops are wearing masks.
I had a lady in Astor the other week. She said, "Why aren't you wearing a mask?" I said, "Because I don't particularly want to catch hypoxia, thank you." And then she started something else, and then said, "I don't know what hypoxia is." I said, "Well, I suggest you look it up." I said, "Because it's in the interest of your health to know what that is." Then she saw me in the store later on. I thought, she apologised. I said, "I'm only saying this to help you."
Do you know what? With me in the tube, I had that. The woman sitting on the chair could see it, and I felt really hot down there, and I was going. And this woman said, "Do you want my chair?" And I was like, "No, it's okay." She thought I was ill.
I can always do this, though, can't I, with a hair?
Yeah, I never thought about that.
You know, when I made that video and I brushed my hair all forward like Cousin It, I couldn't breathe. I could only say about 3 words. I thought, I'm gasping under it.
I know, it's horrible.
I'm sweating to death.
Yeah. So, Claudio, should we pause it for this bit because James is here and Floss has fallen in love with him. She's quite happy sitting on his lap. It's been a real pleasure, and I thank you very much for all that you do and say, and thank you very much for your little bit, James.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. You're awesome.
Would you like to hang out with James next? We'll do one in a week or two's time.
Yeah, that's
sure.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, then that's brilliant then. New friends, because obviously you might have heard of Claudio, but never.
I'm having a job keeping up with everything at the moment, with videos.
Awesome.
Just had a shower sort of fixed, and I've got to rebuild all the cupboards.
Oh, nice.
All good fun.
I don't think I'm keeping up with life very much at the moment either, but who wants to?
Yeah.
Claudio, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for all your time and effort, and I do appreciate you saying what you've got to say.
Thank you,
And
Karen.
hopefully what you said resonates with people, because a lot of people know that there's things wrong but don't know what it is. It's a natural cleansing, but it's not the other one.
One at a time is good fishing.
Yeah. And thanks for popping in on the end
You're
of
welcome.
this. Yeah.
Lovely
Thanks, James.
to hear you.
Okay, for the hangout, we're saying goodbye. Okay, so mwah to James, mwah to Claudio, and mwah to chat room. Thank you so much, everybody.
Ciao. Thank you. Love you all.
Ta-ta.